Maya Thompson had always believed that life wouldn't give her more than she could carry, but lately she felt as if she had been walking with mountains on her shoulders. She was a 32-year-old single mother, exhausted, scared, and barely holding on. And before we even begin, dear viewer, remember one thing: the story you're about to hear is not just about survival, it's about hope, transformation, and a truth every struggling soul needs to hear. So stay with Maya until the end, because what she discovers will leave you stunned. And if her strength inspires you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more life-changing stories. Maya lived in a tiny studio apartment with her 7-year-old daughter, Lily, a bright little girl with soft hazel eyes and curly brown hair that always bounced with innocent joy. Their home wasn't much: cracked paint, flickering lights, and a kitchen that felt more like a hallway. But it was all Maya could afford on her minimum-wage diner job. Every night after putting Lily to sleep, she would sit on the edge of the bed and whisper, "One day, I'll give you a life you deserve." But the truth was, she didn't know how. Bills piled up like towers ready to collapse, the landlord kept increasing the rent, and Maya's 2 part-time jobs still weren't enough to stand between them and homelessness. Some days, she skipped meals to make sure Lily could eat. But she never complained. She never let Lily see her cry. She wanted her daughter to believe the world was still kind. One cold Thursday evening, everything changed. Maya came home late from the diner, her feet aching, her uniform stained with coffee she had spilled when a customer yelled at her for being too slow. Lily was asleep on the couch under her old pink blanket. Maya bent down, kissed her forehead, and realized the child felt warm, too warm. Panic sliced through her chest. Maya didn't have health insurance. She didn't even have money for a clinic visit. She held Lily close all night, praying the fever would break. By morning, it was worse. Maya wrapped Lily in a coat, held her tiny hand, and rushed to a free community clinic. The line outside the building stretched around the block. Single mothers. Elderly people. Families who barely had enough. Maya felt like she was drowning among them. When they finally got inside, hours later, the doctor diagnosed Lily with a severe infection. "You caught it early," he said gently. "But she needs medication. Soon." Maya swallowed hard. "How much will it cost?" The doctor hesitated before saying, "About $180. It was less than some paid for a dinner out, but to Maya, it felt like a mountain made of steel. She had $27 in her wallet. Her next paycheck was a week away. Her heart cracked as she whispered, "I'll find the money. I promise." Outside the clinic, with Lily leaning weakly against her, Maya looked up at the gray sky and fought back tears. "God, please. I can't lose her. Please show me a way." She didn't know that her prayer was already on its way to being answered, just not in the way she imagined. Later that afternoon, Maya carried Lily home slowly, trying not to let her exhaustion show. At the entrance of their building, Maya saw an elderly woman struggling with 2 heavy grocery bags. Without thinking, she rushed over, helped the woman inside, and walked her up to the 2nd floor. The woman introduced herself as Margaret, a retired teacher who lived alone. She was soft-spoken, with kind eyes that seemed to carry decades of unspoken stories. "You're Maya, right?" she asked quietly, as they reached her door. "I've seen you rushing to work every morning." Maya nodded, embarrassed. "Just trying my best." Margaret placed a gentle hand on her arm. "The world needs more hearts like yours." And then, without knowing anything about Maya's struggles, Margaret said something that made Maya freeze. "Would you consider helping me part-time? I need someone trustworthy. I can't offer much, but I can pay weekly." Maya stood speechless. She had helped the old woman from pure kindness, but now, a ray of hope had appeared at the exact moment she most needed it. That night, After giving Lily the first dose of medicine she bought with the advance Margaret insisted on giving her immediately, Maya tucked her daughter into bed. Lily looked up at her and whispered, "Mom, are we going to be okay?" Maya kissed her forehead and held her tight. "Yes, baby. We will be okay. I promise." But deep inside, she had no idea that this new job, this one small act of kindness, would lead her to a truth that would not only shock her, but change her and Lily's future forever. Maya stood frozen on the sidewalk long after the police car disappeared with Alex's real father in handcuffs, her mind unable to catch up with everything that had unfolded so fast. Her hands trembled violently, not because of fear now, but because she finally understood just how close she came to losing everything she had fought for. Alex squeezed her hand, looking up at her with his tired but trusting eyes, his small fingers clinging to her like she was the only safe place in the world, and she was. She bent down, hugged him tightly, breathing in the scent of his hair, and whispered over and over, "You're safe. You're with me. You're safe." Her voice cracked with every word, but for the first time in years, she felt something deep inside her uncoil, something that had been tense, afraid, alone. The next few days were slow, heavy, and blurry. Detectives asked questions. Social workers visited. Neighbors talked. But through the chaos, Maya noticed something she couldn't ignore. Alex slept peacefully for the first time in months. He started eating a little more. He smiled, really smiled, when she read him bedtime stories. The fear that used to live permanently inside his little eyes began to fade like smoke drifting away from a dying fire. For Maya, healing felt harder. She replayed the night in her mind endlessly, the strange footprints outside her door, the missing lunchbox, the broken door lock, Alex's panic at school, and finally, the truth. His biological father had been stalking them quietly for months, waiting for the right moment to take him. Maya had been fighting the wrong battles, thinking poverty was her biggest enemy, but danger had been watching her silently from the shadows. Still, she forced herself to stay strong for Alex. She returned to the diner job she had taken only for survival, and though her hands shook at the register and her eyes were still swollen from nights of crying, she smiled at customers and whispered gratitude to God under her breath for giving her another chance. She had no idea her life was about to change in a way she never believed possible. 2 weeks later, a sharply dressed man walked into the diner, tall, African-American, early 50s, with a calm presence and sharp eyes. He asked for a coffee, sat in Maya's section, and read something on his phone for a long time. Maya didn't think much of it until he finally looked up and said softly, "You're brave." She blinked, confused. "I'm sorry." The man turned his phone around. It was a local news article with her picture on it, the story of the single mother who rescued her kidnapped son and fought to protect him on her own. She felt her stomach twist. She didn't like attention. But the man smiled kindly, sensing her discomfort. "My name is Mr. Carter," he said. "I run a community housing foundation." Maya nodded politely. She had heard of it. They helped low-income families find safe homes. He continued, voice warm and steady, "I read your story, Maya. And I want to help." Maya froze. People didn't help her. People judged her. People pitied her. People walked past her when she cried on the bus. But they didn't help. "Why?" she whispered. Mr. Carter leaned forward. "Because strength like yours should not be punished by struggle. You've survived everything alone. Let us help you breathe again." Maya's throat tightened, and tears stung her eyes. "I can't afford anything," she said quickly. "I can barely pay rent now." Mr. Carter smiled gently. "You won't have to. We're giving you a 2-year sponsored home and a full scholarship for any job training program you choose. No rent. No fees. No debt." Maya covered her mouth with both hands, shaking. She wasn't used to blessings, she was used to surviving disasters. I don't know what to say," she whispered. Mr. Carter stood, placing a business card on the table. "Just say yes to the life you deserve." Before she could speak, he added softly, "Alex deserves it too." That night, after Alex fell asleep clutching his stuffed bear, Maya sat on the floor of their tiny apartment and cried into her hands. Not from pain this time, but because for the first time, someone believed she was worth helping. She accepted the offer. Within a month, Maya and Alex moved into a clean, safe, bright two-bedroom apartment in a peaceful neighborhood where children played outside without fear. Alex ran through the hallways laughing, touching every wall as if he didn't believe it was real. Maya stood in the kitchen staring at the cabinets that weren't broken, cabinets she didn't have to fix with tape. Cabinets where she could finally store food she didn't have to ration. Life slowly began to soften. Maya enrolled in a medical assistant program, and though she doubted herself every day, she pushed through because she wanted Alex to see that strength wasn't perfection, it was persistence. Alex made friends at his new school. He slept soundly every night. The shadows that once followed them were gone. Months passed. Seasons changed. But Maya never forgot how close she came to losing everything. And she never forgot how far she had come from that moment. One rainy morning, as she walked Alex to school, he looked up at her with those big brown eyes and said, "Mom, I'm not scared anymore. Because you always find me." Maya stopped walking, knelt down, and hugged him so tightly he squeaked. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "I will always find you. No matter what." Years later, Maya graduated top of her class and got a stable job at a children's clinic. She bought a small car, decorated their home with thrift store treasures, and celebrated every birthday with homemade cakes and laughter. One day, she sat on the porch watching Alex, now older, stronger, happier, ride his bike with neighborhood kids. The sun set gently behind him. For the first time in her life, Maya felt something simple, soft, and rare, peace. She finally had the future she once believed she didn't deserve. And she had earned every piece of it. She smiled, whispering a promise to herself, no more surviving. From now on, we live.